Hi, I'm Mae Martin, and here with me today is Anita Williams Woolley, Associate Dean of Research at Carnegie Mellon. Thanks so much for being here, Anita.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Has hybrid work introduced any psychological challenges for workers, and how can business leaders overcome those challenges?
Well, certainly, while many people have appreciated the flexibility of hybrid work, there definitely have been some challenges. And there are, at least three essential things that have come up over and over again, along with many other minor variations. First, certainly people need to have relationships with the people that they work with. And so in some settings, that has definitely been more difficult. Second thing that a lot of people are missing is just, the feedback or the reassurance about their performance, if they're performing well, if they're on track with their career and their progression. And the third thing relates to having a separation between work life and home life, especially if they're expected to be available to answer messages at all hours because they're not in the office.
And you were recently interviewed for a piece with The Economist on hybrid work. So can you tell us more about how teamwork plays into hybrid work environments?
Teamwork in a hybrid environment is something that we've been looking at in the research literature for quite some time, and have generally found that especially remote teamwork can be just as effective as face-to-face teamwork. And in our own research in my lab, we find that collective intelligence can be just as high in remote teams. Hybrid teams, however, which is a term that is used in a variety of different ways in different environments, can produce a slightly different challenge because it often means some people are together while other people are working remotely. And those are the situations where we do see that there can be some more coordination and communication issues that really need to be addressed.
That's really interesting. I think a lot of people lump those in together, but it's really interesting to think about how they're two different groups and present their own challenges. And so you mentioned collective intelligence. Can you explain what that is and how a team could go about developing that?
Collective intelligence captures the ability of a group to work together effectively to solve a wide range of problems. And so what we have found is that there are a variety of things that feed into this capability in a group. One big one is group composition, because we know that there are individuals with certain characteristics, one being social perceptiveness, that really helps a group collaborate more effectively, because socially perceptive people are very good at picking up on a wide range of subtle nonverbal cues, and they can use that to help facilitate interaction, such as picking up on if someone isn't agreeing with what the group is planning to do, but they're not saying so. Another part of team composition that is important is diversity. We find both gender diversity as well as racial diversity and cognitive style diversity are all things that can enhance collective intelligence.
And as organizations reimagine the future of work, what's one practice that you'd recommend they adopt?
One important practice that some organizations have adopted and others, I think, are struggling with is really finding good ways to do more coordination asynchronously. Right now, a lot of the issues that employees are experiencing have to do with the need to still fall into the old patterns of synchronous meetings. They might be happening on video conference rather than in person, but they still require people to be available at a particular time just the same. And so many of the stresses that organizations are experiencing, that employees are experiencing from hybrid work, have to do with juggling all of these video meetings and all of the messages that might happen in between, et cetera. Whereas the companies that are finding ways to, say, coordinate handoffs of work or share information asynchronously are allowing employees to have more time to use those video conferences to do more mentoring conversations, or maybe some professional development or developing relationships with new employees. And so it can really free up a lot of bandwidth when organizations find ways to kind of limit the need for people to be in meetings and to have more flexibility around their scheduling.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, Anita. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Well, thanks for having me. It's such an important topic, and I'm happy to talk about it.